This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Danilo's free, and it goes to get wide.
First time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robinson do. Tyler one, he scores! And the city ground goes ballistic! And he's through here! And in the end, Forrest will say it doesn't matter how you play as long as you win it. Yeah! Forest Sale, Premier League!
Hello and welcome to this issue of Red Side of the Trent as we join you with Nottingham Forest on the cusp of signing another player in the form of Portuguese winger Jota Silva. I'm delighted to be joined by Sebastião Sousa Pinto, who is a Portuguese journalist. So many thank you for your time and much appreciate. Thanks for coming on. I understand you've been very close to the deal, so it's quite exciting to have you to share your insights with us. So yeah, firstly, how are you?
Yeah, well, thank you for the invitation. It's always a pleasure.
Oh,
to recognize not only in Portugal but obviously in the world.
Oh, pleasure's always ours. So thank you very much for your time. We'll start obviously with Jota Silva. So it seems like, obviously I'm speaking in pounds rather than euros, but it seems like Forest are signing him for a £6 million fee up front, although this could rise to 11 million. So it's £2.5 million as a clause after 15 games, and then £2.5 million if he scores 10 goals for the club. Seb, this seems quite a relative bargain, really, for someone who's just made their Portugal debut and had a very, very good season. So why do you think Forest have got this fee as low as they have comparatively?
Right. First, I have to say that is obviously in euros, but it's 7 million euros plus 3 for 10 games and not 15. And then 2 million in add-ons for goal scores. Obviously, in case of Jota Silva, we have to go to the contract first because he had 1 year left on his contract.
Right.
Many clubs were interested, but not many making proposals. His desire was always to play in the Premier League. And then, obviously, Nottingham Forest came in. And 1 month left on the window. Obviously, they had to accept the deal. And obviously, a great deal for Vitoria in this time in the market.
Interesting. I understand as well that Vitoria have former Forest alumni Thiago Silva and Nelson Oliveira. Is that right? Both of them playing Vitoria?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sure they might have had a little word or two to sort of sway his mind. But yeah, since we became involved. But am I right in saying that Jota Silva is predominantly a right winger? Because obviously some reports initially came out that he can play on the left as well. So do you see him as a right winger? Do you see him as someone who can play across the forward line? Like what's his best position?
I see him as a left winger for sure.
Left winger.
Yes. He went to the national team once in March, and Roberto Martinez wanted to play him as a striker there. He was an option as a striker, didn't go as well as maybe he thought, but left winger, obviously the best position in my opinion. Interesting.
Yeah, that is actually very interesting because we have been looking for, obviously Forest have 2 wingers at the club, so naturally hence why we're signing another one and looking to sign one more as well, because obviously if Alanga or Hudson-Odoi get injured, then yeah, not good. But last season did prove to be something of a breakthrough season for Jota Silva. Obviously he got 11 goals and 5 assists in the Premier Liga, which are his best figures to date, obviously. But interestingly, I mean, we record this on the 31st July, so it's his birthday tomorrow, isn't it? So he's going to be 25.
Yes. He can be at the stadium because Vitoria will play tomorrow for the Conference League.
Right.
And he can be at the stadium to say goodbye to the fans. But I'm not 100% sure, but there's a big possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Why do you think it's taken him so long to sort of get his? Is he a bit of a late bloomer, do you think? Because he just sort of come to him a bit later than normal? Like, why is it taking him so long for him to find his feet, if you like?
Well, obviously he had a great season, as you mentioned, 15 goals and 7 assists in all competitions. The thing is, he had 1 year left on his contract, as I said earlier. Many clubs were interested in signing him as a free agent, and not many clubs were paying the fee that Vitoria wanted. That was the release clause of 20 million euros. So difficult deal in that way. But obviously, as I said, 1 month to go on the window, Vitoria had to sell him because for him to sign a new contract would be they would spend a lot of money to extend his contract. So they had to sell. Panathinaikos made a crazy offer of 7 million as Nottingham, but for not the total of Jota Silva, with Vitoria keeping a large percentage of the player. Obviously, he didn't want to go there. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, many clubs made proposals, but his focus was Premier League. Now Forest came in with the offer, agreed the deal with Vitoria, and now Jota is going to the Premier League. He's already in England.
Yeah.
He's already in England.
How do you think he'll fare in the Premier League? Because obviously, again, like
I think it suits him well. Suits him well.
Hmm?
Yeah, for sure. There were a lot of Premier League clubs interested in the beginning of the window. West Ham, I saw. Yeah, they were keen on the move, but had other options. Brentford, Brighton, Fulham. They were keen, but not advancing on talks. Just keen on the player in case something happens. But now the only official offer that Premier League clubs made was only Nottingham Forest at the moment. There was a Championship side keen also, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. No, interesting now, because obviously, like, it's just strange because he's 25 now, or will be 25. You know, it's weird because I think there's been a lot of like so many Portuguese players have come to Premier League. Most have been successful, especially at Wolves. But we've had a bit of a checkered past with Portuguese players. Some have been good, some haven't been. I suppose it's actually leads me to my next point. Actually, so you look at some of the good ones for Forest. I mean, we've had like Tobias Figueiredo, Cafu, Thiago Silva, and Oliveira as mentions. Some have been mixed. Obviously, João Carvalho was a record signing. He was good for 6 months, but then obviously we didn't really play to his strengths. Hugo Porfirio was the first Forest player I saw score a goal live in 1999. And then we've had players like Lika, Gil Diaz, João Teixeira, who never even played for the club, and Diogo Goncalves, who probably came to us a little bit too early, and none of those players really worked. But I think the key connection between those is Jorge Mendes had a big say in a lot of those players. Is he involved in this deal as well, or is it a completely different agent?
Honestly, his agent is not Jorge Mendes. No, but I don't know. I don't know how to say what to say. I don't think he was on the deal, but possibly. I don't know. I have to check this.
No, because that will be something that, like, you know, I think there's a lot of Forest fans a bit apprehensive about Mendes' involvement with Forest. So if he's not involved in the deal, that'll probably make a lot of people very calm. So thank you for that. But no, it does seem.
I'll check.
Yeah. Obviously, breaking into the Portugal squad, I know you said he was as a striker, but obviously to break into that squad with all those tremendously gifted players, like, I mean, Portugal, much like England at this moment in time, have like a selection of like riches, especially in attacking positions. Right. So for him to break into that must have been
He made a crazy season. Funny fact, he is the first player of Vitoria that comes directly to the Premier League. He's the first player that got a transfer directly to the Premier League. So big step for him. Let's see if he can handle the pressure of the English football. I think he will.
Obviously, you said before that, like, you know, other English teams were linked, West Ham and Fulham especially, and obviously they were sort of a bit tentative. What do you think it is about his game that you think will make him a good fit for the Premier League? Is it his skill? Is he quite physical? Is he quite fast?
He's physical. Yeah, he's physical, but he attacks a lot of the space. He runs in behind and really strong, so I think he will fit for sure.
How is he? Obviously, I can't say I've watched much Vitoria, but how is he in like a counter-attacking team? Would you say? Do you think he's better in a counter-attacking side, or do you think he's better in a team that has more of the ball?
I'd say more counter-attacking. A bit of the mix of both, but more counter-attacking. Yes.
Interesting. No, and I know you said obviously he prefers to play on the left, which is good because obviously, like, our left wing is again right-footed, so he cuts inside and shoots. But it does seem like his highlight package suggested, again, this isn't a lot to go off, but like he played down the right as well a fair bit. Do you think, you know, obviously that versatility will come in very useful, but obviously I know you said earlier that you think his best position is on the left, but does he have a preferred position himself?
Honestly, I don't know, but he can play in the front three positions. So, but for me, the best one is left winger. So let's see. It
And
depends on Nuno Espírito Santo, of course, that wanted to
yeah,
play. He was keen on Jota, so I think he will fit obviously in the team because Nuno wouldn't be keen on him if he wouldn't fit, right?
true, yeah. Obviously, yeah, just on the Portugal link as well. The Forest have recently made Pedro Ferreira, the Benfica scout.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, he's now come in as like a big head of recruitment
Right.
role. Obviously, I know Benfica have had a lot of joy in South America from him, but what can you tell us about how he sort of sees football and talent, and what sort of players you think he'll be looking at from a scouting perspective?
Right. Honestly, I don't know because I know him, but I don't know much of his work. Obviously, at Benfica, they have a really good scouts. Benfica were interested also in Jota, but just in the beginning of the window. Porto as well, Sporting. All of the clubs in Portugal were keen on Jota, but none of them keen on paying the fee that Vitoria wanted at the time. So yeah, I think I think Pedro is a really good scout, and I think he will do a good work at Forest for sure.
Perfect. Okay. And do you think that Hossa will come in as a starter? Do you think he'll look to start, or do you think he'll be like happy being as a first team player and then breaking through?
I think Jota can be a starter. I don't know. You play Hudson Odoi, right, at the left.
Yeah, and Alanga on the right.
Malanga
Yeah,
at the right. Yeah, maybe he'll start as a sub, but like can be a starter ongoing on the season for sure.
yeah. Got you. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Seb. I really do appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Just one thing that I forgot to mention. Vitoria Sports Club will keep 20% of a future sale of the deal. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. No, great. It's weird. It's happened so quickly, hasn't it? So
Yes.
It was like, you know, it seemed like the interest was reported yesterday, and now it's basically done. So is that?
Yeah, the deal was done yesterday.
Yeah.
He flew today morning to England. Now set to make medicals and sign the contract.
Great stuff. Well, thank you so much. I hope it's a great success for us, and I hope we're talking to you again very soon about other Portuguese players that we've signed. But yeah,
we keep in touch.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Right, and yes, Adam, welcome back. So, okay, obviously we're still live, aren't we? We're still running. So, thank you so much, Seb, for coming on. Adam, what do you make about all that?
Yeah, interesting to see that he's a left winger when like all of his metrics and like stats are predominantly like down the right hand side. I think he'll be able to cover both. And I think if I know we're interested in Wesley and still Ramon Sousa, and if one of those deals kind of comes through, I think it's good that all four of our wingers can probably play on both sides. It doesn't really make that too much of a difference. I'd have liked still to have this left-footed right winger because we just lack that kind of balance of someone being able to cut in from that side, I guess. But maybe Nuno's not too fussed. Though I think I've seen clips of Jota use both feet pretty well. Same with Ramon Sousa as well. So maybe we're not too worried about that in that respect. But yeah, it sounds like a promising signing. I think that the fact that he can play counter-attack and within possession does help because we are predominantly counter-attacking side. Let's not beat around the bush. That is like our ethos. I think that's a very Nuno thing as well, which kind of fit perfectly. That's why I think we hired him in the first place. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see him. Obviously, he looks a bit like he's like a Portuguese Jack Grealish, isn't he? So I'm sure people will be happy about that. certain people anyway.
Replaces Felipe, yeah. By all accounts, though, I think it just from what Seb was saying, obviously, counter-attacking team, quite physical, quite pacey. It does sound like he's a very good fit for Forest on paper. Obviously, like I said, can use both feet, play down both sides. It sounds like it'd be a very valuable option for the squads, which, again, credit to the scouting and recruitment department for that.
Yeah, I mean, I know he said he couldn't really talk about Pedro Ferreira too much, who's coming as our head of recruitment, but I think it makes a lot of sense that Benfica were interested, and then we've managed to kind of like swoop in like a vulture for him. So I guess like his breakout season last year was enough for them sort of clubs who are Champions League like regulars to come in for him. That he must be good enough for a team that's kind of looking to build their Premier League status and get up the league. So that's an exciting thing that's happened in a sense, and that we've got it relatively cheap. Really, it's a very low risk kind of transfer, and I know he's 2025 like next tomorrow, should I say? But at least like it kind of balances the squad out in that respect. Like he's an experienced player. He's played on the European continent. It's not that much different. I think it's just that speed and physicality in the Premier League, but the Premier League is becoming a lot more technical, I would say, wouldn't you?
It's still got the hustle and muscle that other leagues don't have necessarily.
Of course, but if he's relying on his physicality, then that's also a good thing for us, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously him saying that Portugal were looking to use him as a lone striker, which again I find out that's bizarre, isn't it? You've got Ronaldo, you've got Gonzalo Ramos, and you're going, let's get you up front, lad. Even though you played really well in the league, that's a classic Roberto Martinez thing to do. But yeah, again, they wouldn't be doing that unless he was able to do that with physical aspects. So that's definitely pleasing. I suppose you're right, it is a low risk fee, especially for Forest. I mean, for context, like it's £6 million in it. I know it's €7 million. It's £6 million down payment. That's the same as what Derby paid for Bradley Johnson back in like 2015. So and hopefully this chap will be a bit better than Johnson was for them, because he was bad. But I think it's very exciting. I think it's very clever from Forest. But yeah, before we tip off, actually, I've got a obviously on the topic of a left-footed right winger, I've got one for you, and this is something that I think the Forest of the last 2 years definitely would have made a move for. Whether they do now is another matter. But Anthony at Man United obviously been made available for loan. Could you see Forest or Miltos putting a mad one on deadline day and trying to get him into that left-footed right winger?
I don't know, because obviously I think take away what everyone thinks personally about Anthony as a person, I think as a footballer, he has not really like hit the heights that he should have for the price Man United paid for. But there's obviously a talent there coming in at Ajax from Brazil, and he obviously has got a lot of ability. I think it'd be stupid.
I agree.
It's the same thing with the Aaron Ramsdale thing. We're basically pimping out a player for another club and paying a lot of money for his wages, and then not being able to keep him. I just find that baffling. I'd rather look elsewhere for someone that you can like loan to make a permanent. And Anthony's well out of our price range. As much as I don't think he's that good, to be honest, he's really, really like failed so much. At Man United, it's beyond belief how bad he is for him. Like, just so it would be a no for me. I think the Riquelme thing, I know it's gone a little bit quiet from Palmeiras, but I think that's like a future kind of planning thing. Yeah, we get him. I think he's probably one that we end up keeping out on loan for Palmeiras for maybe a year or two, and we don't actually see him for a while. And that's if obviously we stay in the Premier League. That's obviously you're banking on that kind of happening. But stranger things have happened. I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched, obviously, but Anthony would be a huge no for me.
I completely agree. I mean, again, I saw they want his wages £70,000 a week paid for in its entirety, which obviously is cheaper than on Ramsdale. It's about $3.5 million a year, I suppose. But
it's just what he gets away with. Like he doesn't look like he even does the basics of just working hard. And like if he comes to Forest and didn't even put a shift in, like Sangare would be protected at least. just bring Anthony in to distract everyone if Sangare has a slight blip. Although I'm fingers crossed that he'll be a star man for us this season. As I've said, like him having a good season is pivotal. So yeah, no, it's a no for me. I think these two guys kind of would fulfill what we need in terms of covering both sides and plus what people have said about them in terms of coaches about how hard they work on and off the ball. So that kind of sums up Nottingham, never mind the football club as a whole, like hard-working kind of working class city. So I think that kind of bodes quite well. I'm not sure what you think, but yeah.
No, I wouldn't want him. I don't. I don't. Also, I think Forest are in a difficult position because it's very difficult to sign. We've spoken about this before with other players, especially, and we've got the same problem with Murillo now. It's very difficult. We had it with Johnson the first season too. It's very difficult to sign players who will know they're coming in as backup. There has to be some sort of character dangle, and I feel that Elanga, he's only just getting started at Forest. Really, I know he had a bit of a dip towards the end of the season. He looked like he lost his composure in front of goal quite a lot, and he wasn't quite being his electric self. He wasn't running in behind players. He was being a bit more cautious with the ball, this, that, and the other. But I still wouldn't want. I don't think we're in a position where we go. We need better than Elanga, because I think he's still very, very good and great asset for Forest. If we sign someone as high profile as Anthony, they would expect to start, and I don't think that's good for the balance of what we've got, or anything like that. So no, I wouldn't want Anthony at all. I think that we've been very smart with obviously Jota Silva, and by other reports, I know Graham Bailey's come out of it today saying that it looks like Ramon Sousa will finally be happening after all. And Forest are spending, if it's the same fees that was touted last time, you're probably looking at about 20-25 million pounds for the pair of them, which it's less than what we sold Niakate for, if we look at it that way. So we sold Niakate to buy 2 wingers. That's clever. That's good recruitment. So we'll have to see obviously what happens in that front. But I think the way we're going is a lot smarter than buying like a shiny toy like Anthony. And hopefully our owners remember that going into deadline day. So, yeah.
Well, plus like these 2 wingers that are potentially coming in aren't going to be like starters, are they? Because we're still really saying to Hudson-Odoi and Anthony Elanga that you are our starters, but we're bringing these are just creeping up behind you. These are 2 guys who have wanted to come to the European stage for a long, long time, because that's what most people want to do. They want to come to Europe, whether they want to come to the Premier League or La Liga, especially. And they're going to have a point to prove coming in at 24, 25. We're both going to be 25 by the time they probably, if Ramon Sousa is to sign as well. So they've got a lot of things. They've got a lot of personal goals to achieve as well. They will both want to play and breathe down their neck. So it's really clever in terms of personnel we're bringing in as well, because if Hudson-Odoi or Elanga have dips, we've got 2 capable wingers who have got something to prove to come in and try and take that shirt off them, and it's going to hopefully then push those 2 to develop more. And if them 2 have a really good season, then Forest have a good season, as we keep saying, and then their value also goes up. And if they both go, you've got 2 wingers that are probably quite capable of filling those shoes as well. So it's good in all accounts for me. And I think if these 2 signings get complete in the next few days, then we've got probably a striker becomes our priority, I'd say.
Striker, left back, and goalkeeper, the 3 Percy said were.
I mean, the goalkeeper thing still baffles me, and the left back thing, obviously we might not have no trust in Omar Richards there, but
it might not be Richards. It might be Toffolo.
Yeah.
Like I think people sort of have leapt to the conclusion that it'll be Richards that we sort of have reservations over, but he looks like he's done well in pre-season. He's playing games. He's coming through them unscathed. He's playing well in them. Toffolo, if anything, has been playing more left centre back than left back.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, I can't imagine him being like turfed out at 25 or anything like that, Toffolo. But I do think it does seem maybe a one Ina Williams at the right with Mariah De Silva, whatever his name is, the kids, as like the third choice, if you like. You might come in for a cup game or whatever else, and the odd first team minutes here and there. But it does seem maybe left back. They do have Richards and Toffolo. They've identified that as an area of improvement.
Yeah, because I could imagine they want to play Aina right back, if anything, primarily. I think he is stronger there, isn't he? So yeah, it's an interesting one. You might be right. I mean, we obviously play Villarreal on Friday night, so it'll be interesting to see who starts and who plays and who gets minutes. Obviously, it'd be nice if Taiwo would actually show up.
Yes.
I'd like to see Richards play in that game as well. I'd like to see a bit of everyone. I mean, Zach Abbott is, in the Percy the documentary, in the article, should I say, come out and said that Zach Abbott signed a professional contract with us and an extension with us in favour of going to Man United. So that kind of shows what talent we've got at centre half as well there, and like whether Zach Abbott is someone that comes in as the fifth kind of choice, but will probably primarily play in the Papa John's Trophy against the Football League clubs for the B team and what have you, or he goes out on loan as well. Because I'm a bit unsure what we're doing with centre half. Obviously, hopefully we're keeping Murillo and what have you. So, but obviously Nuno's been swapping and changing between the 3 and the 4 to kind of see what he's got to play with, I guess. So that's also an interesting kind of front of what we do there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I still suspect we'll go with 4. It did sound as if, like, from that Percy article, that the 3 at the back and the false 9 are sort of experiments. You know, like you said in the last part, he sort of knows what he's going to get from 4-2-3-1. He knows what he wants from it, and so do the players. He's just seeing what else he can do, trying different situations, scenarios. Like you said, there might be a point in the season where we've got no striker, for example, so he might need to go false 9 with Gibbs White. These are stuff you wouldn't normally try in the Premier League. So I think that's what his sort of angle is. But is there anything else that's caught your eye, Forest related? Before we,
I mean, at least with these another point with signing these 2 wingers, at least we should hopefully never see Nico Dominguez or Morgan Gibbs White play right wing ever again in our lifetime, and that will be a beneficial thing for Forest, because no offense to either of them, but they're not midfield, they're not wide midfielders at all. They are central players. So yeah, that's that. Obviously, Yates signed his new contract, which we discussed in the last one, but it's officially gone through now. So well done to him. Yeah, there's it's kind of I'm really happy with the business we've made, because we've done it early. We've pretty much had our main squad in the training camp. We kind of probably know what Nuno probably knows what his starting lineup is for the opening game of the season. Now it's just about getting minutes, and then now we can start to kind of add these little players in, because we don't need to like bed them in straight away, if you know what I mean. We can kind of like get them in towards now the back end of the window and progress in that sort of sense. So it's an exciting time, man. Like I'm really, really, really excited. I'm really looking forward to watching like people's predictions of us going down or 17th. I feel like we're on
the 4-4-2 one, of course. Yeah, God.
I feel like we're on the edge of kind of surprising a fair few people this season. I hope I'm right in that sense, that we kind of surprise a few people. We become like, I don't think we'll ever become people's second team, because they all hate us now after complaining so much about about referees, about PSR, and still surviving and signing 73 million players in 3 seasons.
Speaking of signing players, I've just seen actually Fab Romano has just been tweeting while we've been on air, saying that Gambian under-20 talented striker Lamine Silla, currently training with Nottingham Forest. Leicester City are also tracking him, as he's definitely one to watch with more Premier League clubs keen. Silla, managed by Cherno Samba and Sasha Mpacha. Cherno Samba,
what a boy.
Campman 0102 legend. But yeah, obviously, that's, again, it sounds like we've got to jump a few Premier League clubs there, so that's exciting. See how that transpires. Obviously, I imagine he'll go to the B team development, but yeah, that's exciting. Like, again, it sounds like we're making the right moves in the market, and like you say, we've sort of given the core group a solid pre-season. Now it's just adding sensibly. But yeah, anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. I've got a peak about 30 odd people or so when you should be working. So thank you for taking the time out of your day. Hopefully you managed to hide YouTube on your browser for any managers or anything like that. And yeah, we'll be with you very soon. We've got a few other exciting things planned. We'll have another pre-season debrief fairly soon, whether that's after the Villarreal or after the Olympiacos game. We'll have a Bournemouth preview soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled. There's plenty of more content, and if there's any more signings, we'll try and get you some more information, data packs for you, if you like, from journalists and those otherwise in the know about what we're dealing with. But yeah, thank you all for joining, and until next time, come on, you Reds.